Some movies are fun. These are not.
You've been warned.
Today we're going to be talking about 5 disturbing movies we will never watch again.
Yes, we will never. Honestly, these are horrible movies. We're not recommending these at all.
No, if anything, it's a guide of movies to stay away from.
Yes.
These are genuinely, no, and I mean this sincerely, these are genuinely films that I have watched once and I have no interest in watching ever again.
Yeah.
I don't need to put myself through that. But this is as genuine as can be. I've watched every single one of these movies once. Barely.
And the sad thing is about this is that they're not bad movies.
No,
they're really
no, I
good.
know.
Some of them you'd even say as masterpieces, but you just cannot bring yourself to watch them again.
Yeah, like if something bad has happened to you in your life, you're not going to go back and do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. So my first pick is Irreversible. Now, I know this is on a lot of people's picks when they do these videos, but I cannot leave this out because this has had such an impact on my life. And not in a good way. No, not at all.
It just means so much to me.
Like Spider-Man meant a lot to me. This did not, okay? So this came out 2002, directed by Gaspar Noé, whatever his name is. French, I can't say French names. Give me a break. Do you know what? It's kind of a masterpiece, but in the worst kind, So I know you haven't seen it yet. You kind of want to watch it, but at the same time you don't, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I haven't been in a rush to watch this one.
Yeah. So anyway, it stars Monica Bellucci and Vincent Cassel, and it's a little bit like it's filmed a little bit like Memento, where it's all in reverse. So the end is the start's at the end, and there's kind of a twist at the end, but it's really at the start. You get it. If you see Memento, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so she gets attacked in the most sinister way. I don't want to say the words because we tend to get flagged up on YouTube. But something very horrible. A man forces herself on her, the best way to say it, in the most brutal fashion. And it's Vincent Cassel and wants revenge. And it's pretty much straightforward as that. It is the most horrifying movie I've ever seen. And it's beautifully shot, all this, but it left me feeling anxiety for about 2 weeks. And I thought it was something wrong with me. But it turns out that the director put subliminal strobe lights in the movie to invoke anxiety. And it fucking worked. So do not watch this film.
Yeah, it's always been one that I'm quite intrigued to watch it, but
Yeah.
I've never pushed myself to do it. And now that I'm living with my girlfriend and we watch films together, I probably won't have the time to do it now because it's not going to be a film that we're going to sit down and watch on a Friday night with a couple of drinks,
Yeah.
So my first pick is probably the worst movie I've ever seen in terms of how disturbing it is. And this is one I couldn't even rank. I couldn't put a star rating on it because I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, it's a well-made movie. There's nothing wrong with it. But this is one movie that really scarred me. And it's Megan is Missing from 2011. This one was really popular about 2 years ago on TikTok and other social media platforms. It became a bit of a dare. People were daring youngsters to watch the movie and people were filming themselves before watching it and then filming themselves after watching it, and you could see everyone's reaction. And that's around the time where it caught my attention and I started to look into it, and I thought, I've got to see where the fuss is. My curiosity killed the cat, so I found it online, I stuck it on, and oh my God, this one it's a hard watch. It's basically, you've got two friends, Megan and Amy, I believe. Is it? Yeah, Megan and Amy. Megan meets this boy claiming to be a 17-year-old, claiming to be 17 online. His name's Josh. They're chatting online for a while and she agrees to meet him, right? She disappears and then Amy, her best friend, starts to try and cover what happens to her. So it's told through a found footage type of way. She takes her, camera out of her. A lot of it's based on laptops and looking at footage from webcams and stuff. So she starts piecing everything together, what happened to her friend. And the first half of the movie is fantastic. You know, Jenks, I love found footage.
Yep.
And it's a really good, creepy found footage movie, and you're getting all these clues about what happened to her, and she's meeting these people that know stuff and checking CCTV footage of places that she might have gone to. Really good first half detective story. But then, oh my God, when Amy discovers the truth, what's happened to Megan, and she ends up in that place, oh my God, it is the worst shit ever put to film. I can't believe they found actresses, young actresses, willing to do this movie and to put themselves through the things they have to do at the end of the film. I can't believe their parents allowed them to be in this movie. And I mean this so sincerely, right? The second half of this movie, I have never felt so much devastation watching a movie in my life. It took me about a week to recover from this film. I hated it. The first half is fantastic, but by the time that film finished, I've never been so affected by a movie. So I suppose it's a masterpiece. It did its job. I mean, it had one job, and to make you feel that way. So I gotta put my hat off to the director for making me feel that way. But I will absolutely never watch this film again. I think it's disgusting.
So yeah, I do remember you talking about it a while back, and I think you put me off it because it's young people. Like with Irreversible, it's older people. So it is easier to endure, I suppose. But when it's like young teens or children, it's too much for me.
Yeah, exactly. And my daughter's coming up to the age now where she wants to go on TikTok, and she wants to go on all these social type of things, you know, YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's a scary place for kids. And so obviously watching something like this really hits home because it happens all the time.
Yeah. Right. My next pick, 100%, I will never watch this film again. Now, with Irreversible, I said I'd never watch it, but gun to my head, if I had to, I probably could endure it. But with Room, I don't think I could face it again. Room came out 2015. And it's quite a popular film. It stars Brie Larson, and she won an Oscar. Believe it or not, she was a really good actress before she did Captain Marvel. Worst decision of her life. She is amazing in this film, and it's kind of based on the Fritzl story where the incest and all these horrible things were happening. And it starts out that she's in this room. She's been there since she's a kid. She's been a captive, and she's had a child with a captive. Played by Jacob Tremblay, I think he pronounced his name. He's a little kid. He's quite in a lot of things. He's in Good Boys. He's the kid in Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep.
Anyway, she's stuck in this room. And I don't want to say more than that because it doesn't play out like you think the story's going to play. If you haven't seen it, I half recommend it, half not. I don't know how you feel about it because I couldn't shake it off. I told you to watch it a few years later, and I think you felt the same, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic film, but same feeling as you, Jenks. I haven't really thought about it since. It's not one I really want to go back to. I understand why these movies are made, and I appreciate them, but for me, it's all about rewatch value, and movies like these don't have much rewatch value. It's just you go in, you experience it, you leave, and it lingers for about 2 weeks. But that aside, she deserved the Oscar. She's fantastic in it. It's a great film. My next pick is 2016's Australian thriller Killing Ground. Now, this is one I watched very recently. I had no idea it existed. I stumbled upon it looking through TikTok, and some guy on there had recommended it, basically doing what we are doing to you now, recommending disturbing films. And I had no idea what I was in for. And when I discovered the movie, it was the same day we went live on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about the context of this movie. I had my eyes closed. I was going to go in blind. And I was telling everybody in the live, there's this film from 2016 I'm going to watch tonight called Killing Ground. And I watched it after the live, and I had to put a disclaimer on our Facebook page just to warn people, because there may be people in our lives that don't particularly like these type of films. So I had to put a disclaimer in it just to say, guys, big warning, like it's a rough one. And it is a rough one. You've basically got a couple who go to this isolated beach in Australia. You go through a wooded area, then they've got a beach. They're the only two people on their side, and you've got this tent the other side of the beach. Seems deserted. So they've been there a while now, and they've seen no movement from this tent across the beach from them. As the film goes on, they do get a bit... what's the word, Jenks? They want to go over and look.
Oh, curious.
For fuck's sake.
Nosy, curious.
They get a bit curious.
Yeah.
But what this film does great, right, before I get into the rough stuff, what it does great is you're cut in between this couple, right? And then you're cut in between two guys. You don't know how they exist in this story, but you're cut in between a couple, these two guys, and then a family on the beach as well. You've got a couple and their baby and their teenage daughter. So the whole film, you're cut in between these three different people, but it's told out of order.
Right.
So it all gets scrambled up, but it all comes to a massive meeting towards the end, right? So all three different parties all collide towards the end of the film, but we don't really know what order it's being told in. Don't want to go into too much detail, but what I will say is, it starts off like Eden Lake, beat for beat. I thought, oh, this is right up my street. Yeah. And then once it takes its own path, it becomes somehow more disturbing than Eden Lake. It doesn't make any sense because Eden Lake is horrible, but this one involves kids. Yeah. It involves a teenager and some of the nastiest men I've ever seen put to film. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what happens. If you want to watch it, watch it. It's a fantastic film. But yeah, I watched it and halfway through, I even turned to my girlfriend. I was like, do you want me to turn it off? Is this too much? Because it is, Jenks. It is horrific.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch it. Once you said there was kids involved, I got kids. I struggle, you know. I've seen a lot of things that are disturbing, but I kind of gravitate away from them now. I push myself away from anything that's kid related. Like we both struggled with the end of Speak No Evil because it was kids. Like I can watch Hostel because it's grown-ups getting tortured. It's not so bad. But yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a bit of a softie in my old age, and not for me.
Oh, I agree with you, Jenks. I'm the exact same.
Right, our last pick is a shared pick. We thought this would be perfect because we reviewed it last year. So it's Coffee Table. It's officially came out 2022, but we only got it in Britain, I'm guessing, last year.
Yeah.
So basically, you told me we've got to watch this movie. It's blowing up on the internet. It's disturbing, but it's meant to be awesome. Might be good for a new channel. I obeyed you, obviously. I rented it, paid £4 for it, stuck it on, and it was the most disturbing film I've ever seen. It's called a black comedy. That's bullshit. There's no comedy at all in it. There's nothing.
Oh my God. It is the least funniest movie ever made. It's basically, it's the most basic premise ever. This guy buys this new coffee table. Yep. While he's putting the coffee table up, he's got a young baby. The baby falls. Something horrific happens to the baby. Enough said. And then the whole film is his partner coming home and he's trying to hide what's happened to the baby. And it is the most anxiety-inducing movie ever. There's so many bits where you're just screaming at the TV for him to give up. Just stop with this charade. Like, she's going to find out what happened.
Yeah. Spiraling.
It's just spiraling. He's getting worse and worse and worse. And it comes to this big header at the end.
Yeah.
The disturbing stuff aside, now that's all we really need to say about the disturbing stuff because it happens right at the start of the movie. I swear it's in the first 10 minutes. That happens, and then literally the whole movie is him trying to hide it.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy about it. He puts it in the cot and he pretends, no, leave the baby sleep, and you can see the blood coming through the cot. It is horrific and definitely a movie I never want to watch again.
Yeah.
I said it in a review when we reviewed it. I can't really slag it off or say anything bad about it because it's a well-made film. It did exactly what it needed to do to induce those feelings. But I don't see the point in making these movies because you want to make a timeless classic, something that people will love for years to come. I guess different strokes for different people. But I watched it and the first reaction I had was, what is the point? What is the point in making a movie like this? If
it's
you
just,
can
just for shock value, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it did its job and it got popular on the back of being shocking. It made its way over to Britain. It's got a big Blu-ray release over here now. And it's had a lot of buzz. I think it's a well-made film. I just don't see the point in it.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not funny at all. It's kind of pointless. You don't see as much as you think you see. It's kind of covered up. So it's not as disturbing. It's just the subject matter is disturbing. And you're right, it's pointless. If it was part of an anthology where one of the episodes was this story and it's like a throwaway episode, oh, it's a horrible episode that was, I'd understand. But this film, it came out, everyone was talking about it. The irony is, our video bombed.
Yeah.
We didn't even reap the benefits of doing it. So I that was all for nothing. Yeah.
But you know what the worst thing is, Jenks? I didn't rent it on Amazon. I permanently bought it on
Oh,
Amazon.
that's even worse.
Yeah. So it's now stuck in my Amazon list of movies. I can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
But yes, kudos to the director. He made a really good film. Like I said, he did exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah.
But it's not one I can get enjoyment out of. No. Now, on the other hand, I thought Killing Ground was an absolutely fantastic film. Like you said with Irreversible, Jenks, gun to my head, all right, I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Because it's a really well-made film, like I said, in the same vein as Eden Lake.
Yeah.
But the coffee table, there's no rewatch value there for me. I'll absolutely never watch it again.
It's almost like a novelty film. It's not even like as if like it's not as if like the writer thought, I got a great idea. It's like, what's shocking?
Exactly.
That's not a good movie for me.
It's not going to work in an elevator pitch. I've got an idea for a film, quick. Do you know what I mean?
Sold.
Yeah.
Right. Hope you enjoyed that. If you love horror, if you have rankings, reviews, please subscribe and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Don't watch these movies.
No.